Hey guys, it's Julian, and today I'm going to be talking to you about how to make drums and percussion in the style of Guy J. As usual, you can get the full project file and samples and MIDI and presets. Everything from this video is available right at the top of the description, and if you're a patron on my Patreon, check there because it's already available. And yeah, let's dive in. So this loop you heard in the intro, we're at 123 BPM. The first sound that we have here are these hi-hats / shakers, which sound like this. So it's a little bit of a finesse with these because as you can hear, it's a very powerful and full sounding shaker. You know, it's really hitting hard, but it's not taking up that much mid-range or low mid-range or even low end. You know, it's really just in the highs. And this is the thing, you know, usually the power of a sound is happening in the mid-range or in the low mids, but with these, it's like you still have to coax that power out of them. But obviously, you know, you're not going to have any low or mid-range frequencies because it's really just like that really sharp kind of stuff that you want with this. So yeah, I'll show you. It's kind of like two layers. We have this one, which is the main one you hear playing on the upbeats. We have a little crisp shaker. And then this open hi-hat, which the open hi-hat started like this actually. And then what I did is I high-passed it a bunch, so that we're just getting those highs. So you see, we kind of get the best of both, because the shaker has a lot of power to it, but it doesn't have like those bright, sharp highs to it. And then the open hi-hat has the sharp highs, but it doesn't have as much power. So then you put these together, and this is one of the ways that you can kind of get these very powerful while still bright sounding hi-hats and shakers. And yeah, and then the second layer inside of here is this one. And so what this is it's two shakers. It's this one, like a sample, and then we have a little loop. And so the idea here is basically, you know, we wanted to have like a really steady sort of progressive style, but it needs something live to it, because if you just have that, then the sound's not really quite there. So we layer in this live one, and then you get the live feel, but you still get that rigid, you know, sharpness that you get from the programmed one. So yeah, so we got this is sample, and then for the loop, the way I did this is, you can see, I just took the same little loop over and over. It's just the way I did this is using this, and then I just took the, and then we get kind of a more live feel mixed in there. Oh yeah, and then on the group of those, I have a bit of saturation to kind of glue them together. Here's without it. And then with it, so just kind of makes that hit a bit more. And then I have all those hi-hats and shakers in a group on top of that, which has a bit of processing on it. So here's with no processing. And then with all of it. So you can hear where we put this on here. So the first thing is the reverb. You can see this is at 26%. It's actually quite a bit. Like, usually if I was putting reverb on my hi-hats like this, I wouldn't put so much. I would maybe have like 10% or so. But with this style, you kind of have a little bit more room, you know. It adds to the airiness of the sound. And yeah, after that, I have this high-pass filter and this drum bus. So the thing that's happening here is the drum bus is making these fat and making them hit more. But listen to what happens if I play it without this high-pass filter. Here is with the high-pass before it, and then without it. You can really hear it when I turn off that EQ, but basically, there's like this weird low-end thing happening, and I think it's just what happens when you have all these samples playing at the same time. So, an easy way to solve this is just put a high-pass filter into the drum bus. And now you're not getting that, like, on every single one. It's still in there a little bit, but, you know, part of that is just kind of like the attack of the sounds and, like, how they hit. So yeah, we got the high pass, then the drum bus is pretty heavy, we got a set like that, and then finally there's just a CQ, which gets rid of that sound even more and then just boosts the high end. So we have a low cut and then a high end boost. And this is the other thing with putting the hi-hats in their own group too. Like if I had these percussions, in a group with these hi-hats, we wouldn't be able to high pass it this sharp. And so it's like, you know, really specializing it like this can go a long way. Oh yeah, so after the hi-hats and shakers, we have these percussions. I'll start with this one. It sounds like this. So what this is meant to be is more of like an evolving, sort of changing percussion. You know, the texture and the sound is constantly moving and changing with this one. So what it is it's this percussion sample. And then what's going on here is I've just put it into a delay. And then we got this little pattern as well. And then after the delay, I have this auto filter. And what's happening is this is a bandpass filter, and then you can see we have the LFO on it, so it's just slowly moving. And we have this drum bus. But yeah, and then the main thing to keep in mind here is just putting the auto filter after the delay, because what's happening is you can hear. Even after it stops playing, you're getting that like a little bit of sort of ringing out delay, but then the filter is still moving, so you're getting that like constantly changing sound. If we put the filter before the delay, it's not nearly as much. So yeah, just kind of like a small detail there. And then finally the drum bus just fattens it up and kind of brings out the filter a little as well. And then we have the second percussion, which sounds like this. So this one, as you can hear, is a lot more sparse. It's really simple. It's just this little percussion sound going through a bit of a high pass. You know, this is meant to be kind of quiet in the mix. It's not meant to be hitting super hard. And it's just in there playing a few extra notes to kind of add some more percussion and kind of fill in some of the spaces there. After that, we have the low end, which is this kick, and then this bass. And I wanted to include a bass in here because with this more progressive sort of like, you know, journeying on style, the bass really is part of the percussion. We'll talk about that when we get to the bass. But yeah, so for the kick, pretty simple, just like a nice, really fat, hard-hitting, punchy kick like this. You know, it's a bit deeper. It's not as much in the high end, but it has that really fat, powerful low end to it. I've got a bit of saturation on that one. And then we have the bass. So this is a simple bass sound. You can see it's just two saw waves in analog going into a low pass filter with a bit of a plucky envelope. We have the amp envelope set like that. And then I just have some drum bus. Just without it. And then with it you can hear really fattens it up. And then I have an EQ, which is cutting at 100 Hz and then boosting the low frequencies below that. So the 100 Hz cut is just to make a bit of room for the kick, because typically that's where the kick is punching. And yeah, another thing with this one is the actual notes on the bass line. You can see, like, we've got this kind of pattern. I've got the velocities turned up and down as well, which you can see I've got the envelope velocity on the filter and on the amp inside of analog. I've got that set, so you can hear we're getting some louder notes, some quieter notes. And yeah, and another thing is just the notes in the bass line. Like, it's really simple, one note, just really rhythmic and progressive like this. And then the last thing here is I have the kick and the bass in a group together with just a bit of saturation. Here's without that. And then with it. So you can hear what this does. You know, it's just that last little boost to kind of glue the kick and the bass together, make the overall line a lot more cohesive and a lot more together sounding. And yeah, so that's it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe. And let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Like I said in the beginning, you can get the full project file and samples and MIDI and presets available right at the top of the description. So this is great. Like, if you want to make a track in the style, you know, this is basically just a template. Like, you have all the drums, you have the bass line, you have the sounds laid out. Now you just got to add some leads and stuff like that. So yeah, link is in the description. Yeah, thank you so much, guys. And I will see you tomorrow with another video.